to be out so much, right?
Yeah. Well, I think, and I know I told you before, I thought 35A was probably going to get swept the first round against Laredo. There's a lot of parity this year in basketball. There's not like one great team. I thought we'd have at least two teams competing for this to go to San Antonio, but we don't. We have one, which is Harlingen South, which is pretty much your most consistent team this year, because we've had a lot of good teams. Economides was good. They didn't even make the playoffs. But that was. I think personally,
was that by way of a fluke? Was that something that just kind of Economides? If they'd had one or two more wins, they would have been in.
They needed one more win. One more win. And the thing is, they would have done what probably Edinburgh did to Porter also. Because Edinburgh defeated Porter, which was number 1 seed. Nixon, I believe. Yeah, they defeated Sherryland, and they were a 4 seed, defeating a 1 seed.
Right.
And, Roe lost, of course. I was there for that game over in Roma.
So that was in Roma.
But, if you look, there's not a lot of consistent, there's not a lot of great teams. They're all consistent. But Harlingen South is just the most consistent.
They've risen to the top.
Yeah, I think so. And, I personally don't think it's because of coaching. So.
And speaking of that, we bring in Coach Brian Molina of the Harlingen South Hawks into the huddle on 840 Fox Sports Radio. B-Mo, good morning, brother. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Tony. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning.
Even though Jake's running smack about you, brother, you still wish him a good morning.
yeah, of course I do.
All right, brother, you're taking on Laredo United in your next game. What do you know about them so far?
One thing I know about Laredo United is they're very well coached. Coach Ramos does a real good job with them, and I've heard they could shoot the ball from the 3-point line, which most Laredo teams can, and they're going to play hard. They're a man-to-man team for the most part, and so forth. And talking to a couple of other coaches around the area, and then watching them play a little bit, they say, Coach, you're playing a carbon copy of your team, pretty much. So I'm looking forward to the challenge. I really am.
Is that a good thing that you're playing a carbon copy of your team?
Yeah, you know what? I talking to my dad last night. I said, finally. Our kids go up against each other every single day, and it's hard to. Being a man-to-man coach and that just being my philosophy, it's hard to emulate that in practice. When we play teams that play zones and do all kinds of stuff, my kids, it's really hard to give my kids a good picture of how another team is going to play a zone, because we don't really spend too much time playing a zone. Actually, we don't play a zone virtually ever. So going up against a team that does what we do is it's going to be exciting. It really is. I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to pan out.
How many of the Valley teams will play the zone, especially against you? I'm sure that's something you picked up from your dad, so it's not something new that nobody's seen down here before.
Right. Most of the teams that we played this year played us in a zone or some type of zone. Now, most of the teams that we've played came out in a zone, and then fortunately because of some of the kids that I have and some of the weapons that we have. We're able to shoot the ball from the outside. When I was in high school, I never saw a zone, and I was always upset. I'm like, dang, Dad, now I'm coaching now, and that's all I see is zone for the most part. I said, I wish I would have seen that back when I played, because usually when you see a zone, if you have guys that can knock it down from the outside, you should be okay. And so that's what we try to do. We try to move the ball a little bit, and we've seen it so much, and we have some teams that play really good zones down here. There's some teams that are really long and really tight. I tell you what, Laredo Nixon did a real good job in that 1-3-1 and gave us some fits for a while last night in that zone. So it's different.
Brian Molina, head coach of the Harlingen South Hawks, joining us here in the huddle on 840 Fox Sports Radio. So do you ever come up and just say, hey, you know what? Instead of running zone, we're going to run press, and let's just mix it up a little bit?
We do. We do press in certain situations.
But you never come out and say, this is how we're going to set the tone right now. We're gonna run it, for right now, and then as the team starts to break our press, then we'll switch to zone.
Yeah, no, we rarely ever just come out and play zone, Tony. My philosophy is simple. There's two things that I hate giving up. I hate giving up offensive rebounds, and I hate giving up uncontested shots. And my thing is, if you're playing a team that's well coached, when you're playing a zone, you're going to give up uncontested shots. And to me, in my philosophy, every time a shot goes up, if we're in man, we know who we're boxing out. If we're playing a zone, sometimes you're just boxing out an area, and that's when guys can just kind of slip through the cracks and get second shots,
Right.
and so forth. So those are just two things that I don't like. I also like to think that for the most part, I'm trying to get my kids ready to play. If some of them don't want to play at the next level, unless you're playing for Syracuse, you don't play a zone. At the next level, at the college level, it's pretty much man to man and just kind of get after you. And I tell my kids, if you play the man to man the right way, every time it's on the backside, it should be a zone. It should look like a zone anyway. So, that's just my philosophy. We do run and jump though, and during certain situations, and we will press from time to time, coming out of timeouts and stuff, just to throw things at them and so forth. But for the most part, my kids have bought into the system. They're more confident. One time I say, guys, let's try this. Kind of like a jump zone that we had, and they're like, Coach, can we go back to man? They just trust it so much. And I guess it's a good thing because that's what I've been trying to instill in them for 6 years now, and it's a great thing for us. It's really helped us out.
I guess familiarity breeds confidence.
Yeah, it does. It really does, Tony.
This year with the parity, I guess, in the Valley, do you guys think, I was talking about consistency, do you think this is your most consistent team that you've had as far as, from the beginning of the year all the way to the end of the year?
Yeah, I think so. Jake. We've been, and I think that's the key word. We've just been consistent. It's like I tell my kids every time before we go out to play a game, even in these last couple of games. Of course, their playoff games, they mean more, but I try to keep the kids' perspective. I say, hey guys, just keep doing what you do. Just go out and guard. I'm not asking you to knock down shots. I'm not asking you to do anything spectacular. Just go out there, do what you do, and just be consistent. And that's what we've been doing. I think we've just been consistently strong, pretty much throughout the whole year. And you have to be playing in 31-5A this past year, with the Edinburghs and the Fars, and of course our sister school Harlingen. You're going to have to be consistent. And there's going to be times when the ball just might not fall your way. It happened towards the end of the season for us. Fortunately, we were still able to get a piece of the district title, and I think that consistency has kind of carried over into the playoffs. So it's been a good thing, and yeah, I think this is definitely this team's trademark, just being consistent the whole year.
Hey, this morning, are you guys going to be flipping for home and home or neutral or wherever you guys are going to choose? Are you doing that?
Yes, we'll do that this morning. I know I was talking to my athletic director, Coach Peters, last night, and our athletic coordinator, Coach Wilson, yesterday evening, and we're going to get together with Laredo United. We'll probably be over the phone, and we'll decide what we're going to do as far as sites and time is concerned. We're shooting for Tuesday nights and so forth. So I'd like to have it somewhere here in the Valley would be great, but I'm sure they don't want it here in the Valley. So
I think a good midpoint is the UTPA Fieldhouse there, bro.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, I'd love to go home, Tony. You know me.
I might be able to swing it if you want me to make a call, dog. For you, dog, I'll do that.
We are going to have Coach Ramos on the at 8:45. We could probably do the flip for you.
That'll be good. So hey, let's just go to Pan Am, Coach. That'll be great. Hey, he's played there. His teams have played there more than mine have. So.
We can negotiate it if you want. If we're going to have him on, he'll be on the golf course. He'll be in a good mood. He just said, I'm going to start the day off on the golf course while BMO's on the show.
That sounds. I'm assuming it's not raining in Laredo right now. It's raining over here in Harlingen.
Is it? I think we're just getting cheapies around here, man. I'm waiting for Noah to float by on the ark before I start to panic.
Hey Brian. Hey Brian, about your team, you've got Nick, and you've got the most deep team I think in the Valley this year. What makes your guys' team so special? Because it's not just a one-man show with Nick, but you've got other guys too.
Right. This year, Tony. We've had so many guys that stepped up in situations. We even last night. I tell you what, last night we went with. I ended the game with 2 sophomores and just guys that have just come in and stepped up. And I think the whole thing is just the competitiveness that we have in practice. I have a group of sophomores that have been winning since they've been in boys club leagues. So they're so darn competitive. As a matter of fact, the other day, just to change things up, in practice and stuff, sometimes, you want to keep it exciting. I got 4 sophomores and a junior and went up against our seniors, just for about 5 minutes just to see how it looked. And man, you would think they were playing for a state title. Just them going at each other. I'm like, I have to blow the whistle. Whoa, guys, we still have as a matter of fact, I think we were getting ready to play Edinburgh. I said, guys, we still have a huge game tomorrow night. Let's just slow it down a little bit and so forth. So I think it's just the mere competitiveness that we try to that I try to put them in practice and so forth, and they make each other better. And I think that's the key to us being so deep this year.
So did the underclassmen, pull it out against the seniors? Did they handle business?
Oh man, I hope none of the seniors are listening. But we played about 4 minutes, and our underclassmen beat them by 2. So and now it's like, hey coach, can we play that? I'm like, no. So, right now I had to make it very clear that we are just one team right now. But they're so competitive, Tony. I mean, they get after it, and of course I think a lot of it has to do with with my staff and myself. That's what we tell them. Every spot is open when we go into it. When we're going into a game, I've started so many different combinations this year. So with that in mind, they know that their mindset is, hey, you know what? I want to help this team as much as possible, and if they feel they need to be on the floor, they get out and they compete for it. And that's what I ask from all my kids. So it's been a really fun year. It really has.
Brian Molina, head coach of the Harlingen South Hawks, joining us here in the huddle on 840 Fox Sports Radio. Brian, as special as it is with this group of kids that you have, is this your son's senior year?
Yes, it is, Tony. So it really is.
How much more does that add to what you guys are trying to accomplish?
Oh, it's there aren't words that could describe it. There really aren't. I mean, he's I know how my father is to me. I mean, he's my hero. He's somebody I look up to. And then,
but did he coach? He didn't coach you, did he?
Yes, he did.
He did. Wow.
Oh, yes, sir, he did. Yes, sir, he did. And and now everything's come around full circle. Now I have him. Last night I saw him. Man, he came in, Tony, and just ice in his veins. I throw him in there. I throw him in there in situations, and everybody knows it. When he goes in the game, he's in there for one reason only, and that's to shoot. And he went in there. We reversed the ball around. He had a guy about 6'2" in his face, and he just put it up, and wham, and he hit it. I mean, hit that 3 when we needed it and so forth. It was a huge basket. And then he just came back in, and then, after the game we were done, he ran straight up to me. Of course, I found him too, and he hugged me. And he told me, we did it, Pop. We did it, but we're not done. And he works so hard, and it's just so much more special that I'm having, probably our best season that I've had in my head coaching career. And I'm so glad that he's a big part of it. I wouldn't ask for it any other way.
That's awesome. That's good to hear.
Oh yeah, it is.
So you guys haven't flipped yet. We're shooting for Tuesday night. What are the possibilities of it being the hey, let's play in the Valley? Or do you get a gut feeling that you're going to play somewhere else?
I don't know. I've never really dealt with Coach Ramos. I know he's a coach in this situation. He's a great guy, and so forth. I really don't know what he's thinking. I'm thinking he'd want a neutral site and so forth, which I'm all for. There's a lot of things that go into these decisions. He's already played at Roma, so if he's already played at Roma and my kids haven't, I don't want to put my kids in that situation. There's always Rio Grande City, La Jolla, or if he wants to go the other route, and to the Corpus area or so forth. Those are all things that come into the mix. For selfish reasons, of course, I'd love to go right back home to Pan Am and play over there. I think it'd be a good basketball atmosphere for my kids, and not only that, for the Rio Grande Valley. I know that seeing how the Cardinals did in football, I know that the Valley just gets behind their teams and so forth, and I know I'm hoping they get behind us too, and just make it a good basketball setting for the Rio Grande Valley, hopefully.
You brought up something earlier about your guys having future plans to play at the next level. How many of those kids are on your team that you can genuinely say, hey, look, they've got potential to step up and be a